Good evening and welcome to the Confidence Reset Masterclass. I'm Joan Stenzler. I'm a communication specialist, motivational speaker, and women's empowerment coach, and it's wonderful to have you joining me this evening. Tonight, we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic and actually a concept that I kind of coined a few weeks ago, known as the Confidence Reset. And without any further ado, I'm going to share my screen and show you a little bit about it. Here we go. Okay. Okay. So we're here to look at a way to create a confidence reset. It's a 4-step path to unshakable self-confidence. And I was thinking about it a couple of weeks ago, literally. And I thought, you know what? There are many, many women out there who are smart and who are capable and who've done difficult things. And yet, for some reason, often what I have found is that when they are faced with another challenge, they somehow find it hard to know how to move forward. They hesitate, they're uncertain, and they don't really know what to do. And it's not because they don't have the ability to do it, it's because they lose that connection to their level of confidence. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. Why does that happen? So, I am here because one of the things that I do and one of the things I'm passionate about is teaching smart, compassionate women who are natural nurturers how to step out of their comfort zone, embrace their worthiness, and find their authentic voice. I've been in practice as a psychotherapist for 30 years, and I began teaching women's empowerment programs online in July of 2020 through my Women's Empowerment Incubator. So we're here to talk about confidence. We're here to take a look at what the connection is between confidence and being a woman and how things kind of get stuck for many of us. So the concept is a very complex concept, and it's a dilemma that women who are very smart, even though they've done really amazing things, and they've been praised for those amazing things, still get stuck and don't really know how to move forward when the next difficult thing happens. And so we're here to figure out what is that about and why does that happen? And I'm here to show you a strategy and a pathway for resuming or returning to that place of confidence. Has this ever happened to you? You're on track, feeling great, knowing what you need to do, when suddenly you're stopped by an unexpected obstacle. Or someone in your life triggers you by being condescending or dismissive. Suddenly your confidence becomes shaky and you begin to doubt yourself. What's going on? Well, without understanding why this happens, so many women will lose their nerve, their enthusiasm, and motivation, and suddenly they'll feel unable to pick themselves up, figure out what's going on, and move forward. And when this happens to you, despite past successes, naturally you're going to feel frustrated and thrown off and unsure how to recalibrate and move forward. And so many smart women find themselves perplexed, confused, uncertain, and really stressed out about this. And I want to try to find a way to help people through this. Okay. So I just said that. Let's find out. Why does it happen? Let's find out. Okay. So we're going to begin with a definition of confidence, and then we're going to take a look at some of the different aspects of it together. So confidence is a multifaceted psychological and emotional state, and it has to do with your belief in your own abilities, your ability to trust your judgment, and an ability to experience your own worth. And it involves a level of self-assuredness, a positive outlook, an abundance mindset is very critical in this whole process, okay? And a belief in one's ability to navigate through difficult situations and find a way to do what you need to do successfully. And it's often associated with having strong self-esteem and an ability to trust yourself. It's a vital psychological quality that can influence your behavior, your motivation, and your overall well-being. And when you have confidence, it can change everything. It can lead to greater success, resilience, and more fulfilling life. And it can be developed and nurtured through experience, self-awareness, and positive reinforcement. I can't emphasize how important that is enough. We need those three. How does confidence show up in your life? Well, here are different ways in which it does. One is self-confidence. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, it's about believing in your own abilities, your own skills, your own knowledge, your own competence and ability to perform certain challenging tasks or do certain challenging things. Then there's social confidence, feeling at ease in social interactions, at ease in social situations, and feeling comfortable in general with oneself when you're in those situations. Then there's confidence about decision-making. Can you trust your judgment? Do you have faith in your ability to make sound choices and decisions? And in the process of making those decisions, does it feel good to you? Do you feel good about doing it? That feeling of that good feeling when you're doing something and making a choice and a decision, part of that is a feeling of confidence. And one of the other aspects of confidence is about feeling good about how you look and feeling good about yourself and what your image is. So confidence is a vital psychological quality that can influence behavior, motivation, and well-being, as I said before. Okay. So now we're going to do a little bit of a dive. So why do women trust themselves one minute, yet doubt themselves the next? Well, so much has to do with how we are socialized as women. And while what I'm about to say are examples of real traditional stereotypes for women, they live on, sadly, despite the fact that we've made so much progress in our society and so much progress as women. So the stereotypical expectation is that women are supposed to be nice, helpful, patient, caring, and understanding. There's nothing wrong with any of that. They're all great qualities, right? We're supposed to raise the kids if there are kids in the family, cook the meals, take care of the home. Now, there are many of us who are in relationships where it's not set in stone that way, but somehow or other, there's something often underneath in many women's psychological makeup in a way where they've kind of internalized that expectation that they're supposed to do it. So if they're not able to do it, or if they're doing other things, they're worried that someone else will look at them negatively if they're not doing certain things that others expect them to do. Now, here's a very big key here. What others' expectations are. Okay, we're going to hold on to that because we're going to go into that in a second. Okay, actually, the second is now. We're going to go into it right now. Okay, so when other people have expectations that we are going to do things in a certain way because there are certain ideas that they have in their mind about what we should do as women, it creates pressure and it creates a feeling of, I really should do that. I really should take on that other task. I really should help with this and with this and with this. That's one thing when you say, you know what, these are things I want to do and these are things that I'm doing because it's coming from my heart. But there's a difference between doing things from that place and doing things because you feel like someone will be disappointed in you if you don't, or will feel like you're not fulfilling your role if you don't, or will somehow in one way or another have a negative reaction to you. And so that's frequently the reason why a lot of women will take on a lot of things, some of which they really may not be able to handle because it's too much of a load, not because they can't handle the specific task, but because they've taken on too much and then they become overloaded. The other thing that women have a hard time doing is they have a hard time in general asking for help. You know, I can do it. I'll take all this on and I'm going to be okay. Well, a lot of times they're not okay. And a lot of times when they're not okay, it's hard for them to ask because if there's that underlying psychological belief that they're supposed to do these things, well, then if they ask somebody to help them, it may make them feel like, well, I'm not really doing what I'm supposed to. And it may make them feel guilty or feel badly about themselves. So there we have a setup for a real problem. Okay. So when you do things like that, you end up becoming a human doing, not a human being, which is part of the reason why women end up being exhausted so much of the time. And don't kid me, don't get me wrong, men can be exhausted also, but because we're here to talk about women today, we're talking mainly about what is our experience. Okay. And a lot of times, as I said before, women often hold on to and take on and hold on to more tasks than they may be able to handle for fear of being judged if they don't take care of what other people expect. So what do we do? It's a dilemma. So can you see the connection between socialization, the fears, and the false beliefs? It's pretty obvious, right? So some come from a woman's own limited beliefs and possibly traumatic experiences, right? And some of them come from beliefs and influences from others in her world or in the world at large, whose opinion and perspective affect her. So I really don't want to do this, but if I don't do this, then he'll say something, or I really don't want to go to that party that particular night, or I really don't want to, this is a big one I hear all the time. I really don't want to go to Thanksgiving in 3 different places and run around like a chicken without a head to please everybody in my family. I got that from somebody I know. And sometimes people really do that. They turn themselves inside out. And, women are very, very known for that. And so the pressure is there. The pressure is there to be a certain way and do a certain number of things. And the other piece of this is, I can't emphasize this enough, the pressure is to not focus on yourself. The pressure is to focus on everybody else. And every woman I know that I've spoken to about this will say, that's the way I was taught to be. I was taught to focus on everybody else. And I've gotten used to focusing on everybody else. Then I find that I work with people, wonderful, smart, capable women who are really uncomfortable with the idea of giving that same gift to themselves. Because they feel like, I can't do that. Well, if you can do it for other people, why can't you just turn it around and give it to yourself? But part of the reason why that becomes difficult for women is because when you focus on what someone else wants, and when you focus on what someone else expects of you, and you spend your time in many situations doing what you can to meet their expectations, you're focusing your life on what it is that they want rather than what it is that you want. And then if you don't really know what you want, then you're not really sure how to figure that out. And sometimes what happens is when we focus on taking care of others and put our faith in what it is that they want, it becomes harder for us to really trust ourselves, to believe that we have the ability to do things on our own. And it doesn't mean that we don't, it's just that there's some doubt there. And so when your faith and your trust and your power gets turned over to others in this way, then what happens is your decisions are not aligned with yourself. It's more aligned with other people. Again, a real big dilemma. So what do we do? So in a minute, I'm going to show you a 4-step pathway that I mentioned before for building unshakable confidence. But before we do, and actually, I'm going to say something else. Now, one of the things that's part of this process is learning how to listen to yourself. Really important. Listen to yourself. Developing and trusting your intuition. Cultivating an abundance mindset. Strengthening the faith you have in yourself, and then doing what your heart is longing for you to do rather than just go along with what others expect. I'm going to say that again. That's important. doing what your heart is longing for you to do rather than just going along with what others expect. And that doesn't mean I'll ditch everybody else and forget about how they feel and not do anything for them. No, it's about finding a way to bring space into your life for what it is that you need for yourself. And obviously, if you're not sure what that is, and it's also about the process of figuring that out. So here are some common reasons women avoid this process, even though we are naturally built for diving right into it. Okay. So number one, we don't want to make waves or rock the boat. We're afraid that others will disapprove of our decisions. We don't want to disappoint or let someone else down. And we want to avoid being criticized or invalidated, or even worse, we want to avoid being ignored. I think that's one of the worst things someone can do. If you're saying something, just act as though you're not there, like you're invisible. Okay, so becoming more confident involves a shift in the way that you see things. The problem is, and I mentioned this a minute ago, if the expectations and reactions of others are the driving force behind what a woman says or does, she'll never live life on her own terms, and she'll learn to not trust herself. She's putting her faith in someone else because this is what they are saying, or she's going forward with it. Now, of course, there are times when she may be doing something she knows she needs to do and she wants to do that also happens to be what someone else expects. That's not the kind of example that I'm giving here, though. Okay, so to become a more confident woman, you need to be willing to learn how to honor your preferences, ask for what you want, and know when it is important to say no. Because when you say no in the right situation, you are actually saying yes to yourself. And while learning how to shape life on your terms can feel awkward and sometimes frustrating, because change is never easy, the results will be worth your wait, and your willingness to go through the discomfort will be worth it, because on the other side is a new and amazing life. And now for the 4-step path. So here is an example of the obstacles that you experience. Here's an example of the obstacles that you experience. Your level of confidence is here. And then there's a scale on the bottom, lowest to highest. Okay. Everybody hear me? Okay, good. Good. Okay. So we have obstacles on this side, then there's a level of confidence in the middle, and then there's a scale from lowest to highest. Now, lowest is just beyond this wall. What is this wall? This wall is the barrier that is created by these obstacles. So these obstacles prevent us from really feeling our confidence. So the obstacles are things like fear and false belief, trauma, scarcity, lack of support, lack of trust, self-trust, guilt, etc. We have all of these here. These are very common. Many people experience them, and yet women figure out a way to get past these obstacles, to get to the other side and hit the mother lode, which is where the outcomes are, right? Now, the question is how to do it. Well, let's take a look at some of the promises of the and the result of confidence being elevated. So often you have more patience. You have more self-trust. You feel less critical of yourself. You're more compassionate. You align with and have more abundance beliefs. You're able to accept change better, and you're able to accept yourself better, which is one of the most beautiful gifts of all of this. Take personal responsibility, make better decisions, many, many more. But here are some examples. Okay. So if you look at this without looking at the top, you see that we have all these obstacles and there's this wall. And it's like, well, here, confidence is very low. When I'm afraid, when I have self-doubt, when I feel ashamed or I feel guilty, my confidence is very low and I can't really do anything to elevate it. I'm stuck. So the process of being able to do a reset of your confidence, which is what this mastermind is about, is to figure out how to get from here to here. And I've come up with a way. And here's the way. The first thing that you need to be able to know and believe in your heart of hearts is that you are worthy, that you deserve good things in your life, and that you have the right to want to improve things for yourself. And you have you are entitled to receive good things. You're worthy of it. The second step is believing that change is possible. I can't emphasize enough how important this is. This is very much an integral part of what an abundance mindset is about. That there are things that can happen for us even though we can't envision them, and there are possibilities that will present themselves and opportunities that will present themselves that we may not be able to see in the moment, but believing that they will materialize, believing that they will show up for us is critical in this process. So believing you're worthy, believing change is possible. This is a more generic kind of that change in general is possible. Okay. And then the third one, believing that you can do it. So you can believe that change is possible, but you may not be able to say to yourself, and you know what, it's going to happen for me, or I'm going to make this happen. You can say, oh yeah, change is possible. Look at all those people. They got these great jobs and they did this and that and the other. And, you know, they did all these great things, but you know what? How do I know that's going to happen for me? So cultivating a belief that you can do it is so important. Why? Because when you believe that you can do it, when you believe you can figure it out, you don't have to be confident to believe you can do it. Some people believe that you have to be confident. Now, it doesn't hurt if you've had other experiences before where you've had positive results and where you have felt confident. But if you are determined to figure out how to do something, if you're determined to find the solution and you work on it, and then you make it happen, guess what happens? Boom. The confidence just goes to the sky, and to the sky is a limit, because what happens is then in this process, which is mirrored down here, you go from the lower level to a higher level of confidence, because when you make something happen, it feels good, right? It's like, I did that. And especially if you thought to yourself, and I didn't think I could do that, but I did that. That's really great. And so this is what happens. What happens is you do something, you feel that great surge of, I'm so proud of myself. I'm so happy about this. I feel so much better. And you get elevated by that level of confidence. The next time you have something to do, if you can remember to go back through this process, then you'll be able to go back to feeling confident again the next time. The other thing that's a critical part of this is that as you develop, I would say like a catalog, so to speak, of successes, right? You have stuff you can go back to. You have like a file of your success. When you have a challenging situation that you're facing, you can go back to what it is that you had done before, and you can say, you know what? I'm not sure how to do this, but you know what? I did that before, and I did this before. I can do this again. And so your past history of being successful and having had that surge of confidence in those previous situations can bolster you and move you forward. So feeling confident is challenging. I'm going back to the beginning of this for a second, the obstacles, just to look at that, because people might be saying, yes, but then why is it still hard? Well, here's one of the reasons. When we consider doing something, this is so common among most women I speak to. When we consider doing something, but we don't know what to do, we don't know how to do it, often we feel like we're returning to square one, like we don't have anything to build on, right, when it comes to challenges. And often one of the reasons that this happens is that the number one reason why women hesitate to do the thing they want to do or say the thing they want to say is fear of a negative outcome. If I do this, someone will criticize me. If I do this, someone will contradict me. If I do this, there'll be a bad consequence at work. They will call me all kinds of names and I'll be excluded. If I do this, there's going to be a conflict in the family. And so all of those fears end up being a hindrance to taking that step that you want to take. And often women who want to avoid these coming true will avoid, excuse me, will avoid doing anything that could potentially trigger that, even if they sell themselves short in the process. Okay, so that's one piece of it. Second piece of it is, when a woman grows up in a family with this dysfunction or trauma or abuse, it feels safer to stay quiet, to avoid asking questions, and just do as you're told. I have heard it be told, I live in New York and I can't relate to this at all, but I've heard it be told that some people in parts of the country in the Midwest have been raised to not say anything and not ask a question. That was never me in my life. So I feel blessed. But a lot of people come from families where being quiet as a woman was the right thing to do, like fold your hands, don't say a word, don't ask questions, don't question anything, right? There's a difference between asking a question because you're curious and you want to find out some information and questioning somebody or contradicting somebody or arguing. But often when a woman asks a question, guess what? A lot of times people look at it and say, oh, she's difficult. She's difficult. And so who wants to be classified that way? Not me, that's for sure. But you don't have to choose safety over being really happy. Many women do stay in the safe lane and avoid making waves because they don't want to be seen as a troublemaker, a rebel, a problem, or dare I say, a bitch. And even though they might have something very important to say or do, they put their own needs and wants behind. If you can relate to any of this and yearn to step out instead of shrinking and to speak up instead of being silent, I have something to show you that will make this change possible. The good news is when you have the right resources, your confidence will grow. You need the right environment, one that is safe, supportive, and nurturing, where you can open and be vulnerable and feel okay with that. So frequently, it's really, really scary to be vulnerable because I think there's very little worse than opening your heart and being vulnerable to somebody and they totally mangle it, right? You're like wide open and like they just made a mess of everything. And you feel like, why did I say anything? So being in the right environment, knowing you're safe, where you can be open and vulnerable is critical. You need to have someone that can help teach you and motivate you and inspire you to move through those difficult times and those difficult places. And you need a team of people to help you. And with women, women are the best people to go to, honestly. I mean, not every single woman, but when women get together, they are naturally, most of the time, naturally going to want to help. So you need people that are encouraging, women that are encouraging, who will listen, acknowledge, and inspire you on your journey. Here's an example of one woman who was able to do that. Some people here know this woman. This is a wonderful woman. Her name is Liz Loria. And she is someone that has been in my women's empowerment programs now for 3 years. She was a director of a sign language department where students came to learn to be teachers for the deaf and hard of hearing. She was an instructor, and they promoted her to director. What was the problem with that? They gave her no training, they gave her no guidance, they gave her no supervision, and she was drowning. She came to my Women's Empowerment Incubator programs 3 years ago in a place of desperation, really depressed, and feeling like she didn't know what to do, and she wanted to get out, but she didn't know how to leave. And with the help of the coaching program she was in with me, she got the support that she needed and began to believe that she deserved better, and found the courage to look for other work, find a new job that she loves, and put in her resignation. And when she shared this with everyone in the group, boy, did we celebrate that success. And this Maritza's quite a success story. Maritza had worked for many years as a manager in Rite Aid when she was going to school for her bachelor's and master's in biology. Really smart woman. She had wanted to leave Rite Aid, but had been out of the job market so long, she didn't know how to go about finding work in the field, in the health field. And she wanted to specifically go into pediatrics because she really had a passion for working with children. She was scared and had little confidence in her ability to handle an interview. She and I met. I helped her to update her resume and coached her on how to handle questions in an interview, and the group encouraged her through the process. Finally, she got up the nerve, went to a job fair where she submitted her resume to Northwell Health, which is a health continuum here in New York and vicinity. She was interviewed for a position as a nursing assistant, and with just one interview, she was hired a month later. Here are two other women, one of whom is with us tonight. This is Connie right here from Las Vegas. So Connie was in my masterclass last week and asked to come in again because she enjoyed the content so much. She wanted to get a little bit more of it. And Martha is someone that I worked with many years ago. She's an amazing, amazing woman. She's a music teacher, and she teaches children, and she uses mindfulness techniques to teach children how to become more focused and how to be more creative. And we worked together around a lot of different issues, including some challenges she had with work and some family stuff that was going on at the time. And we had a really very meaningful time working together. I found it was really lovely getting to know her, and it's lovely getting to know everyone that I work with. So if you want to learn to listen to yourself, hang on, let me get this out of the way. It's not moving. There we go. If you really want to learn to listen to yourself, develop and trust your intuition, cultivate an abundance mindset, strengthen the faith you have in yourself, and then do what your heart is longing for you to do rather than just going along with others' expectations, I have a solution that will help with all of this. It will help you to identify obstacles that block you and discover ways to get past them, build belief in yourself, learn to trust what you're feeling, and find ways to express it more effectively. Awaken your voice and express your values in alignment with your life vision, and be part of a woman's experience that will encourage, motivate, and inspire you. And with that kind of support, you can turn your dreams, as the women I have mentioned to you have, into reality. So I've created a program called the Ultimate Confidence Generator for Women. This is truly one-of-a-kind program, and it's been designed with transformation in mind. In addition to being a psychotherapist, communication specialist, and a women's empowerment coach, I'm also a yoga teacher, and I also teach meditation. So I bring a very mindful approach to whatever I do. I have, over the years, assisted with some of the biggest teachers at the Kripalu Yoga Center up in Massachusetts. I was on their staff. So I have gone through as a participant, and I have also helped to create empowering experiences in retreats at my yoga center. And so what I've done is I have brought in program design elements that will create an experience like none other. This is a group coaching program and a personal empowerment retreat. It's a mastermind for women. where the group is small and you're able to really connect with each other, learn from one another, and support each other. And it's a study group and online learning space. So it's a combination of all of those. The depth of exploration that happens in this program is something you will only find offered by seasoned transformational professionals. Like me, I am a seasoned transformational professional, and I love doing this, and I love helping women, and I love being a witness to the transformation that people have when they're working together. And the thing about this is not just about me. I mean, I know that what I'm offering has great value, and I know that it will make a big difference, but that's not what it's about. It's about the fact that when women who are the right women for this program and can do the depth work that we do come together, who are kind, who are nurturing, who are good listeners, and who want to help, guess what? They're going to help one another. And the other women who might have difficulty accepting help or might not be used to having people offering them help are getting showered with help, showered with support, showered with affirmation, showered with encouragement. And the secret to doing this depth work is having that nurturing environment and other like-minded women, which is part of the reason why this program is not for everyone, because it's not the kind of program that I'm just going to say, and anybody that wants to join, you could join. I won't do that. I'm very selective about who comes into the program. I love everyone I'm working with, but I also know that some people are perfect for the program and some people may not be ready for the program. And the last thing I would want to do is have someone come in that just didn't have that depth of practice, whether it's in therapy or some other modality, to be able to deal with some of the stuff that gets kicked up. And by the way, if I didn't mention it before, I'm also a trauma treatment specialist. So if I'm in the middle of a group and something comes up around someone's past trauma, I will be able to help them through it and then move back into what the group is doing. I bring that into this as well. So why is this program different? Because all the teaching within the program is done live. There are supplemental materials provided in the form of videos, written exercises weekly, PDF study guides, but the essence of the session, the lessons are delivered by me live. So one of the reasons why I'm mentioning this is because there are many, many courses out there, different kinds of courses, lots and lots of courses out there where they sell you on a transformation, but you're really buying their content. And if you aren't listening to the video, then you get lost when you go into the live session because you haven't done the work in the video beforehand. Now, I'm going to be offering video as part of the program, definitely. It'll be more of a supplement. It'll be some introductions to each weekly session, but it'll be more of a supplement because I want to make sure, and I have been very successful at this in the past, I want to make sure that everyone is with us and moving forward from one module to another and is getting the help and the support and the results that they came in for. Clearly, there's work involved, right? It's not just come in and then things change. No, there's work involved. But I want to know that when people finish the program, if it's at all possible for them to have any kind of transformation, they will have one. Very few programs can say that. Very few programs will say that because often people go through, let's say 6 or 8 modules. People go through 2 modules, 3 modules, then they get busy and they don't finish watching the videos and then they get lost and then they just drop out, right? That's not what happens when people work with me, okay? Our success rate is unparalleled. Now I'm saying this, it might sound like I'm bragging, I'm really not. We have 100% success rate because every woman that's been in the program has had some kind of transformation. They've gone through the modules, they have absorbed and integrated the material that we've shared and that I've taught, and they have had a transformation. So, and one of the reasons for that is that I offer hands-on coaching support, okay, in each group. If anybody has any concerns, any questions, if someone suddenly bumps into something really rough and they start crying or they feel stuck in some way, I will work with them right there on the spot, and I will do some coaching, therapeutic coaching, to help them move through it so that they feel better, and then they can join the group again. Okay. Now, the group is small and intimate because I want to make sure that we have a very personal experience and that everyone feels like they are seen. It's very important that people feel seen and safe. All right. And that's why I ask people who are interested to get in touch with me to let me know. And if you are interested, I would love to hear from you. But what we're going to do is anybody who gets in touch, we do an enrollment interview. If you're somebody I don't know already, if you are, that's not something, that's not an issue. But if I don't know you, then we do an enrollment interview where I talk to you a little bit about your experience, and I find out whether you've been in therapy, and I find out what some of the issues are that you've been dealing with lately, to see if you're in a place where you can take on this challenge, because it is a challenge, right? Someone who has front and center, a divorce right in front of them, and they're in the midst of something really awful, right? And difficult and scary. They're not the right person for this. Just because they don't have the bandwidth for it. I want to make sure people have the bandwidth. Why? Because I want everybody to be successful. That's my goal. I want everybody to be successful. And so each woman needs to commit to showing up each week and to doing the work and helping one another, being kind and being mindful of boundaries. And we talk about that and we learn about that also. And pretty much all the people that have been in the program really find that it's a lovely and a very refreshing experience when they start to say they want to say something, right? Because I've seen this time and again, and I know they're ready to say something, but they're hesitating, and they say it, and then they sort of stand back and they wait to see what's going to happen. And there's silence for a second or two. And they're like, whoa, that's new. I'm not used to that. I'm used to somebody interrupting me or whatever it might be. And then they get used to speaking their truth. They get used to being vulnerable, and they get used to talking about what's going on for them because they know it feels safe to do it and that they can do it. And that's one of the other things about this, that women get very close. Women get to know each other. They find out about each other's families. They share photos. We have gone out several times together. I'm hoping if we can to do something in November, perhaps getting together again for anybody who's in New York. That would be, a very lovely thing to do, because we've basically, and here's the other thing. Up until a year ago, I think in the spring, most of the people that were in the program I had never met before, because I started this right after the pandemic started. And so it was a way to help decrease isolation and help to create an experience for people. Because I'm a very curious person. I said to myself, well, what would happen if I asked a number of people that I'm working with to get together and do a women's group? I wonder what that would be like. That would be fun, because I love running groups. It'd be fun. It has turned out to be so much more that I could have possibly imagined. And again, not because of me alone, it's because it was a co-created experience. It was a combination of what I brought to the table and what the women bring to the table in each session. And that's why there's such magic. Really, it's co-created. Okay, so I'm going to go through this briefly because you've been very nice and I appreciate your time, and I don't want to wear out my welcome. Okay, so we have a personal confidence assessment, which is a checklist to help identify the areas where your confidence is blocked. And I work with you on that myself, as well as within the group. There are 8 learning modules that have different factors that we focus on, including a woman's perception of herself and what her relationship is with confidence, and then the obstacles that hold her back and how to find your authentic voice. And we focus during the program, each person selects a subject, a situation that they're going to work on. And then even though we're all working to learn general principles, then each person applies those principles to themselves and then works on resolving whatever the problem is or figuring out how to deal with an issue. And that's really pretty powerful. So there are weekly presentations. I send out written discovery exercises, which are actually journaling exercises each week. And those exercises are directly related to the next week's session. So what happens is people get an idea in advance on a Friday of what we're going to talk about the following Wednesday. They have a chance to fill it out and come up with some thoughts on it. And then they bring what they've already processed themselves to the group, which is why it makes our discussion so interesting and people are so much more engaged. As I mentioned before, there's laser coaching, a lot of emotional support, guidance, and celebration, and then the personal empowerment infusion. I can't say enough about this. And I will say I'm going to pat myself on the back for this because this is something that I came up with the help of Kripalu Center. At Kripalu Center, they used to have an experience where they pair you off and they would say, they would ask you to go inside and listen to yourself and then write, this is what I have to say to you. And you would write what came up. Okay. This was sort of inspired by that. I think this is better, but don't tell anybody there that I said it. The personal empowerment infusion is where each woman gets showered with affirming feedback. And we're not just making it up. Over the course of the time that we're working together, the people in the group get to know each other and get to know what everybody's qualities are. And everybody gets my awesomeness quiz, which I love the name of, right? It's an awesomeness quiz, which basically has a list of different qualities that you might have or that someone else might have. Everybody gets to fill that out themselves. And each time a woman is in the center of the virtual circle, she begins by saying, this is what I know to be true about myself. And then she starts saying all these words out loud. And then everybody else, each person one at a time, starts reflecting what they know to be true. I know you are kind. You are generous. You are thoughtful. You're a hard worker. You are a great mom. You are funny. You are considerate. You are thoughtful. And by the time each woman who's in the center of the circle is finished, she's floating on air because we have infused her with a sense of empowerment, with stuff that's true, totally true. And that's one of the things I love about this program the most. Anyway, so for people that are joining the program, I am giving a 3 video guided meditation series called Embracing Your Worthiness. And I have created something called a Confident Woman's Pledge, which is a set of affirmations that I created that's so pretty it's suitable for framing. Thank you, Canva, for those of you who know Canva. Okay, now fast action bonus. If you register by midnight tonight, I'm going to give you entrance into a program I'll be doing sometime later in the year called Saying Yes to You. It's all about setting limits and knowing what it is you want and putting yourself first. So that's if you register by midnight tonight. Again, as I said before, program's not for everybody. You have to have done some depth work before this is right for you. And if you're interested in this program, I would love to speak to you. I'm excited about inviting other people in. And if you'd like to learn more, then feel free to let me know. There's one other thing I need to mention. And here it is. Actually, I'm going to mention one other thing first, okay? This program, as I said before, offers the depth of a retreat, and it also offers the hands-on support of a mastermind. For those of you who have never heard about masterminds or know what they cost, most masterminds cost between $10,000 and $15,000 a year. I kid you not, right? And many of these mastermind programs are 30, 40, 50 people, right? I am not going at this point in the way this current program is structured. I am not going to go beyond 15 to 20 maximum. We're going to be doing a lot of breakouts then, so everybody really has the opportunity to really connect in a meaningful way and do their work with plenty of time. Okay, so the price for this relative to what you're getting, whoever might be interested in joining me, is really, in my opinion, it's the best investment you will ever make. I'm saying that proudly because I've seen how it has helped people. So this program is $9.97 for 8 weeks. My guess is we'll probably add 1 week. I may even add another so we have enough time for the personal empowerment infusion, or you can pay 3 payments of $375. For that, you get where am I? Here we go. The 8 learning modules, the confidence assessment, the weekly presentations, the live exercise, the discovery exercises, the laser coaching, unbelievable emotional support, and the love and the support and the help from amazing women who are there to be your guides and to help you, cheer you on, and make you feel comfortable enough and ready to take those next steps. So if you're interested in joining, I'm very happy to speak with you. If you have any questions, I'm going to open the floor now. If anybody wants to know a little bit more about it, and here's my woman with the questions. I love her. And I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this. And again, I know it's not for everybody, and that's fine, right? But I just wanted to expose you to it. I wanted to share this information because I believe passionately in what I do. I really do. I believe passionately in what I do. I think that women need other women to advocate for them and to be of support. And I'm not quite sure how it came to this, but I've always advocated for people in my time in my work. But I have decided that one of my main purposes here in life is to help to advocate for women and show them a way to advocate for themselves so that they can be happier and more resourceful. And we can eventually, Nina's going to like this one, take over the world. And if you think I'm kidding, I'm only half kidding, because I believe in my heart of hearts, with everything going on that's so heartbreaking in the world, I think that if women were running the show, we wouldn't have a lot of this stuff going on. We wouldn't put up with it. We just wouldn't, it's just not something we would do. So I know we're smarter. And I always tell this to my female patients, and I say, don't tell this to your spouse. But I know that we're the smarter sex, and I know that we have what it takes. So I am going to thank you very much. I'm going to close my presentation.